Hello and welcome back to the first warm-up of the season. It's the 1885 show. Now, today is obviously the first one. We want to kick it off nice and well. We've introduced myself, obviously Charlie, coming back as host. But today we've brought you something else, which is different. We brought you a QPR fan for our warm-up, which is something we're going to be start introducing this season. So welcome to the team today, James.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
No, good, mate. How have you been? Have you been to any pre-season games so far, or?
I went to Bromley the other day and it was a nice result, 7-0. So that was
Yeah.
a good first game of the season I've been to, and then looking forward to Saturday, obviously.
Yeah, no, I'd love to say it was exactly the same for me last week when I went, but it was a boring 1-1. But yeah, no, how has pre-season been for you guys obviously as a QPR fan?
Well, it's been considering usually we are so poor pre-season, so poor. I don't remember the last time I had a good pre-season, and then we are unbeaten in 6 games. We drew 1 and then won 5, so it's been a good run. Last time we had a run like this in pre-season, we won the league, but obviously I'm not going to get my hopes up like that.
Yeah, no, well, to be fair, it's been the opposite for us, mate. We've been struggling. We've lost to Gillingham, we've lost to Stevenage, and then couldn't even beat Bromley, who you smashed the other day. So
Yeah.
it has been disappointing. But then we have beat Antwerp at home, and obviously, again, these friendlies at the end of the day mean absolutely nothing going into the season. As you can tell, basically, we can beat Antwerp, who have been in and around Champions League football in their own right, and Europa, and then can't beat League Two in our own country.
Yeah,
So it's all like getting legs to get everyone back to fitness. To be fair, I don't know obviously about your squad, which we'll get into. We've made obviously a few signings. Surveys looks really good, but he's apparently now injured. Obviously, we've got the Serb obviously coming back, hopefully looking like in September. So it looked like a new player, hopefully.
Yeah.
To be fair, anything like Coben when he got injured and came back, he's a new player. So hopefully we're hoping that's for the Serb. And then obviously, to be fair, we've still got. I think it's one of them ones with us. We've got those transfers hanging over our head of is Femi going to go?
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
Kramer going to go? You're looking at those pretty much to shape our season at this point. But we've also brought in, Carell Lisby, who looks exciting.
Yeah, I was speaking to another Millwall fan, and he was telling me that he looks really sharp, which is, I mean, something that you've not really seen on the wing. Had obviously Nisbet, who got moved into the middle,
Yeah.
and he's been good in the middle. However, you've not really had an electric sort of winner.
Yeah, I mean, Negley is obviously your
Negley, that's the one.
technical. He's more of the technical kind of power in that midfield. He just doesn't stop running. But in terms of pace on the wing, it's definitely something we've missed out on. Obviously, with Femi again, he's not the quickest in a sense of full on sprint, but what he can do is he terrorizes defenses.
He's good.
So
I suppose it'd be Femi on the right and Lisby on the left.
yeah, I mean, you're looking at that as your possibility. I mean, we've seen a different in pre-season. We've kind of seen it change and chop and change, and we've seen a front three of Tariq Alcon, who's another new signing who looks absolutely powerhouse up front, and blistering pace. And I think that's probably how Alex Neil's looking at it this season. I think at home, I think it might be a front three of Lisby, Aziz if he stays, and then Alcon up front, and then away from home where we're not going to have the ball, or maybe it's the opposite way around. He's looking at it for a counter side of things, but you've obviously still got Josh Coben up front as well. But I think when you play Josh up front, it's more or less you know what you're getting. You're going long.
Exactly. And the thing is, you've got so many different players who can offer complete different things. I mean, that's such a good asset to have, especially in championships.
Yeah, no, 100%. But to be fair, we've been doing transfer some all along on YouTube, and to be fair, I think we've routed through Millwall signings on and on. And to be fair, although it is a cup game, it's looking likely it's obviously going to be a good test for the season upcoming. So obviously QPR are one of them teams you never really know where they are in the league. You know, they either are challenging or they are definitely kind of just mid-table at the moment. But to be fair, you've made loads of signings. So even as a Millwall fan, I'm quite excited for you guys in terms of, you brought in Lamptey, you brought in who's actually a brother to Rafiq, who's just gone out on loan for us. And then also you've just brought in Kamara as well, who
from it's on a loan. It's on a loan with an option to buy, which I think is a really good bit of business because he's 30, I think 30 turning 31. So it's one of them that you do want to test the waters because he's not had a lot of game time in about 4 years. 4 seasons, he's not played more than like 25 games. So it's a good run to see if he is going to prove himself in Championship and can get that run of games in because they come thick and fast in Championships, you know what I mean? So it's like, if he can prove it, and we do need that experience at the midfield, so if he can prove it and prove himself in the league, it'd be a good asset to go and buy next season.
Oh, 100%. I said, like, when I've watched him for Rangers and Europa League and everything, like, he's always been kind of their standout and
Yeah,
someone that you could definitely put in maybe obviously in his primary years when he was obviously at Rangers,
yeah,
but definitely a good player. And the same with Lamptey, to be fair. If you can keep him fit, he's going to
yeah.
be up there, probably the best right back in the league. So,
That's one of them ones. That is such a gamble. The fact we've got him on free is, I think, it's a no-brainer there. Do you know what I mean? It's like bringing a player like that in, knowing what he can do, is so hopeful. But it's just a what if. Like he could get injured like that. Do you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, it's what you expect. But you never know if he can set it alight. You've got probably the best right back in the league. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, no, 100%. That's what I'm saying. You look at it as a whole, you always see on the social media thinking, oh, how have they done that then? And it's the
Yeah,
sense of like, you do look at it. If these players were still at a level where they were playing week in, week out, they wouldn't be at Millwall, they
yeah,
wouldn't be at
100%.
QPR.
And we've
So,
got so winning players like that. We've got, for example, Karamoko Dembele, who was the next like wonder kid, was the next like Lionel Messi. But again, injuries, inconsistency, and even the last season and a half we've had him now, it's been like exactly that. On his day, he shows qualities of or like Premier League player, but then it's just like how often does that come? And when he's always injured all the time, he can't find his feet. And also with him as well, it's like when he's good, which is every like I said, 1 in 10 games, he's very good and he'll get man of the match, clear, like the player who makes everything happen. But when he's bad, it's like playing with 10 men. Do you know what I mean? It's like yeah, he doesn't work. His work rate's not the best, so it's like we have these luxury players who had the potential at some point to be like great players, but then with the inconsistency and like the injuries, there's a reason why they're not still playing at them clubs. And there's a reason why they're down in Championship.
100%. And I think, to be fair, you look at a lot of teams now, especially in the Championship. One, they've started to buy from each other, which is unheard of normally.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, no, you don't usually get teams spending like millions on each other because they
yeah,
know then they're going to go out and reinvest as well.
yeah,
And also you normally get teams kind of strong holding players and don't let them leave and whatever else. But I think at this point now you've got to the point where Championship clubs are looking at spending money.
yeah,
And again, like even with Millwall, we've got to the point where if you look at our team 3 4 years ago compared to the team we have now,
yeah, yeah,
it's astonishing the way we've gone. And even with QPR, you've always had good quality players
yeah,
in abundance, but your squad or you just keep changing manager. And to be
yeah,
fair, like
yeah.
even some of the other championships, you look at Bristol. I think they brought into large up front. I think I saw reports earlier there they might be signing Don Ballard as well, which is
Oh wow,
mental.
yeah,
Which is to be fair, if they've done that, I generally think they could generally be like dark horses.
yeah,
But even again, they brought in, even though they're not at their best, they brought in Jed Wallace, which is obviously someone that we know a lot about. And
yeah.
again, in his prime years was unbelievable for us.
Well, you think so many of them players as well. Like you had your Jeb Wallace, he went down, he went to West Brom, nothing happened there, and then you had like Sammy Smodics, who was lighting up Championship. He went elsewhere, done nothing. Brereton Diaz, I think he's still a great player, but even then, like you have so many of these players. John Swift, for example, like who was so good for their team, leaves to another Championship club and don't really do much.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I think it's at that point now where it's like you do have to kind of. I think that's why Millwall have changed their model in the
Yeah,
sense of pretty much like we were a club that always kind of was surviving or just to push for the round of like a playoff right at the end, and it's not sufficient enough. And then obviously we've changed to the point now where we kind of sell young and obviously or sell them high, and then obviously try and buy young and reinvest
yeah,
it again, like we have done with SA, with Fleming,
yeah,
with
yeah. And I think that is
oh,
also the way the route QPR trying to take, because we have done it over the years, but like obviously with the sale of Eze and the selling clause of it on him has done us really, really well, especially considering we was in such a bad like rut due to financial fair play where we'd got like £45 million fine. So that has really got us out. Like I think you can see the project that the club are building right now, because we've got like a young CEO in who is like really, really good at like he's got this pool that I don't know how like we're getting these players in, and same with the manager. But I think it's what's attracting these players, because clearly there's something going on here, because like the manager he's developed like Desiree Doué, he's worked with so many of them young players. I think he was with like Dembele for a bit. So it's like you've got the manager who is saying he can develop these players and who has proven to, and then also with the CEO who's clearly got some sort of way of luring these players in, with talented young players like Kone and Poku, who from lower leagues, but Kone gets 10 goals last season. Poku was unlucky, barely got any minutes because he was injured so much. And then Burrell, I never knew who he was until we signed him, and he scores 10 goals for us, and he was one of our standout players last season. So it's really interesting to see the route we're taking. And even the signing of Ronnie Edwards as well, who already Burnley are after us for 12.5 million. So it's like we've got this this good and this attraction to our club, but it's also a worry of, are we going to be one of them just selling clubs?
Yeah, I mean, it's always, I think it's tough, and especially like I think we probably are looking at it as Millwall fans at the moment in the same situation where we've finished 1 point off second,
Yeah,
and now it feels like the vultures are pretty much swinging in and just taking everyone that's there.
yeah.
Like, for example, we bought Femi for a mil. If we can get anywhere near the reported fee of 30, then you're absolutely
Me
laughing. Like,
laughing.
yeah, and then obviously the same with Tristan Kramer, like you said about Borrell. Like, we brought him in on a
Right.
free. He was meant to be Cooper's replacement. We sold Tanganga. He was then kind of Tanganga's replacement. We brought in Caleb Taylor from West Brom, and then we put Kramer out on right back, and then we saw just absolute monstrous things
Yeah,
from him. And
yeah.
he's not even a right back, and
No,
he's at that level where I generally think he could play wherever he wanted. That man.
yeah,
And obviously again, like he was a nobody before the start of the season, and then now he's either your fan favorite or you're someone that you're looking at you don't want to lose.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Mill don't ever get team of the seasons and players up in those awards, but we had Femi, we had Kramer,
Mm.
and there's definitely players obviously unlucky to not. We were even unlucky to not go up, and I think ultimately, as like you said, like you just don't want to. Hopefully, this season for us, it's not a case of everyone expects us to obviously be doing what we did last season,
Yeah,
and then obviously come January, you're looking at just trying to survive and having a rebuild
yeah,
season, which is
yeah,
obviously what you
yeah,
don't want to happen. But yeah, so moving on to our squads, just obviously go into the game. Well, there's no point, I don't think, of us doing our lineups because ultimately, I think at this obviously it's a cup game before the season, which is probably unheard of as well.
yeah, yeah,
It is ultimately you either look at it as another pre-season just before you go into the league, or you are looking at it as obviously a real test. Is what
yeah,
we've obviously said, and obviously like we work together, we've discussed this before, and you were saying that you obviously normally treat these kind of games as youth potentials and seeing what you've
yeah.
got in the
Well,
youth, but we
speaking,
normally do the opposite. We do like a hybrid
yeah,
of kind of we want to get further enough
yeah,
to make a bit of money, but we
yeah,
also want to kind of bleed 2-3 players in.
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the past few years, last year was not was a anomaly compared to the last year. Sort of gone for it a bit more. But then last year with the new manager, I think he was just more focused on the league. And then we had a go in the FA Cup where we ended up playing West Ham and getting knocked out by them. It was really unlucky. Seasons ago, like we got to the quarters and we lost to Sunderland 1-0, beating Everton on the way. That was brilliant. And then we shouldn't have lost to Sunderland. We got really badly done up by the refs in that game. We scored a goal, got disallowed, that wasn't offside. Yeah, you know what the refs are like. But yeah, and then last season we played a whole load of youngsters. Like, I think there was about one first team player. It was Burrell's first game, so obviously we didn't know much about him. So it was like, other than him, it was like one first team player, and it was just a really weird concept. Like Harvey Val, who's our like starting to not starting right winger or attacking midfielder, he was playing left back, which he played because he played in Chelsea's academy at left back. But it was like just such a weird concept to see. I was playing like art. We had like 4 16-year-olds out there at one point. So I wonder if he'll do the same again. But I think where we have got this team building and all this ongoing like form from pre-season, I feel like he could set out a decent side, and especially it's a London derby, and I feel like the players will be up for it as well as the fans. I think it'll be interesting to see how the manager does set out the team.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm not looking forward to coming to your ground again on Saturday. And if the view does me every single time, he just doesn't understand how I cannot see the pitch through your like restricted view. But
Mhm.
I'll be there. I'll be cheering on the boys. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, ultimately, it is a tough one because again, I'll be going Bristol as well, and ultimately, that's going to be kind of the first game that you kind of really give
yeah, yeah,
like you want to win. And but obviously you still want to go further enough. I think last year again we kind of played a hybrid and somehow beat Coventry, but then
mm,
2 weeks later then they came and smacked us 4-0 in the real
yeah,
league.
yeah,
So it means absolutely nothing if you don't realistically get to a quarters. But ultimately I think for us we've had such a pre-season where even as fans we don't really know what is going on with the
mm,
club, and we don't really know what's going on with certain situations. I think for us as a fan base, we really need to see us kick on this season from where we were last year.
yeah.
Uh,
No, definitely.
uh, and then obviously, as you said, like a London derby, you know, ultimately you want to win those regardless of what it is,
Yeah,
friendlies or pre-season, or in a sense of like it's a cup game or a league game. And obviously in the championship, this season especially, there's enough London derbies in abundance, but you want to go out there and make sure you don't lose to your rivals
yeah.
regardless.
No, 100%.
Because like you said, everyone work-wise from their respective families and work friends and stuff. Everyone knows a QPR fan, a West Ham
Yeah.
fan, Charlton fan. So, the banter is always going to be there.
Yeah.
So regardless if win or lose on Saturday, you're going to get
Yeah.
bantered.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but yeah, ultimately, realistically, the result, I don't really care as much as we just put on a performance, depending on the team that we put out. And then obviously, I'll have a little bit more. If we beat you, obviously, it makes the trip down to Bristol a little bit easier. If we come away with a thrashing, which could happen, then ultimately that long trip to Bristol is going to be even that long time longer.
Yeah, no, 100%. And even like with QPR's Instagram, they did a video of like who do you want first game of the season. 95% of the players all said Millwall pretty much. I think it's a big thing for the players. I wonder if that has an aspect of who's going to be playing, because they'll be up for it. Do you know what I mean? And I think as much as because we've been signing a lot of we've been like giving a lot of pro contracts to our development players. So as much as they do play for the club, they don't have the same. Do you know what I mean? They don't know what it's like to be playing Millwall in a league. It's like, and like the tension between the players and the fans. I mean, it's not Millwall West Ham or nothing like that, but it's a London derby. Do you know what I mean, they don't really know exactly what it's like yet. So I do think it will be interesting to see, and I think like both sets of players would be up for it. Do you know what I mean? And it's a good way to kickstart the season, getting a win before it even starts.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, especially as a Millwall fan, you look at it. I think 3-4 years ago, the team I used to again I go home and away, and just like every single week, you're going to see the likes of Honeyman, Bradshaw, and it doesn't fill you with excitement at all. You're just hoping that Rowett kind of pulls something out of the bag at this point.
Danny Matt.
We had Danny Matt, who's now in Cheltenham, obviously, which is a strange one in itself. But like for me now, I go there every week thinking, I get to watch Del Boy play, who's obviously an absolute wonder kid.
He's good.
And then he's a beast in that midfield. And then again, you have obviously if he stays, you've got Femi who just lights up the pitch. You've got the likes of Lisby and Alcont who are exciting, obviously, to watch now. You've got the big fucking lamppost up front.
Yeah.
Again, you know what you're going to get from him. He's going to miss sitters, but at the same time, he's going to score worldies. And
and then you've still got
again,
excitement of Ivanovic coming back as well, like who on his day is a top player. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you can.
do you know what? It's funny. Now I want to get your thoughts when we've brought it up, but like he divides a lot of the Millwall fans pretty much. Ivanovic, like I absolutely love him. I think just the celebration alone gets me like absolutely understand doing this. It's absolutely mental.
Yeah.
But like his problem is, I think he's a luxury striker. I think
100%.
if you put him into a very attacking team, a top end team, he'll get you 25 goals a season. Yeah. But you don't provide him with if you don't provide him, he won't provide for you.
Yeah, no.
Whereas Coburn's the opposite, as he'll work the absolute heart out.
Yeah.
But he might only get one chance, but he's happy with that because he's earned that. But with the Serb, like if you are giving him the service, and to be fair to him, it is down to how we play sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think we've been limited with the strike and obviously the supply we've had. It doesn't really play to his strength, and he does get a lot of criticism. There's links with him again going to Italy, and I've seen a lot of Millwall fans being like, "I'll take him there for us." And it's like he's not bad. He's 21. He scored 20 goals in 2 seasons.
Yeah,
yes,
I mean,
yes, he wasn't electric like he was in the first season, but ultimately
he's injured a lot of the time
threat.
as well, wasn't he?
He does, yeah, he's in and out of the team.
And also with the thing is that where go on.
You also have Kone, who is pretty much kind of the same, I think, in some aspects of like he's sometimes very, very good and he's unplayable, and then sometimes you can watch him and he does absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's I know what you mean. It's like with Ivanovic, every time I've like watched you lot or played against you guys and Ivanovic has been playing, you do see like where you lot, because a lot of the time you guys try to go long, but then when we played you away this season at your place, you actually played a lot of football. But I don't think Ivanovic I can't remember if Ivanovic was playing or not. But when I have seen you lot and he's playing well, he's a proper handful, and he just like because he gets right in between the two centre halves, and he just seems really, really hard to mark in that box. But then again, he's not got that work rate that Coburn does, where he earns his chances. You know what I mean? And then although he doesn't score like the best, he doesn't score the easiest of chances, but he'll work his arse off for you, like, do you know what I mean? And he makes his own goals. Like for example, the whole game when you look 1-3-1, you look with nowhere near the better team in that game. I thought Coburn just dug you out of the mud and scored 2 goals.
To be fair, the funniest thing that you brought up is that game, and I think the reason it changed was Ivanovic.
Yeah.
As soon as we went to a 2 up front, they couldn't handle both of them.
Yeah.
Because when you do have both of them up front, they're both very physical.
Yeah.
They both want the ball to feet, which makes your centre backs have to go touch tight. And obviously, like you said, one they made a mistake, which Josh obviously capitalised on, ran half the pitch and smashed in. but then the others just came from both of them kind of working off each other, which when they are both on it, they are both really good.
Yeah.
Just with when you do play a one up front, and I think we have to accommodate the one up front now because we do have Survey and we do have Negley.
Yeah.
Who
You've got to accommodate all those other players,
yeah.
do you know what I mean?
But I think with Coburn, you just know you aren't going to get a lot of chances. Rather than when you play a two up front, you are expecting at least a couple more than what you are because the wide men are going to provide, but also you have two up front that are basically either working their arse off or they are obviously getting themselves about. So it is obviously one of those ones. But let's just get straight into our ending of the show. James, your prediction for Saturday?
I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to QPR.
Fair enough, mate. Yeah, any reasonings for why you think that?
I feel like we're at home. I feel like we're on a really good run of form. I think it'll be a good start. I think the players will be really up for it considering the run we've been on. And I just think it's London derby. I feel like we treat it a bit more seriously than you do because, you've got West Ham's play this season, but we've got no one else really. So I feel like it's a big game for us. And I feel like the manager will want to have a go in the cup this season considering we got knocked out first round last year.
Yeah, no, that's fair, mate. And to be fair, with your pre-season results, there's no reason as to why that can't happen. Again, especially we do look very sluggish, very slow. We have multiple players that just still aren't either at full fitness or at the top of their game heading into the season, which we can tell. The likes of Alfie Doughty, for example, who, again, if he can get back to full fitness, one of the best left backs, especially with the ball.
Yeah.
But obviously with himself, he doesn't look fully fit. You got a couple of other players still kind of either coming back from injury or just not 100%. Which, to be fair, which is why I think we'll take it a lot more seriously in terms of we'll probably use this as another kind of game to see whereabouts we are. And then obviously we're gonna go for it at Bristol. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say we're gonna win 2-1. I'm always gonna back us.
Yeah, of course.
Just especially, I think if you look at how we obviously play against you the back end of the season, I think it's two different teams. I don't think it's going to be worlds apart. And to be fair, we always do kind of struggle at your place.
Yeah, it's always a tough game. It's always one of them ones where it's like either of us are never great, but someone always just is a little bit less bad. Do you know what I mean? So they always get the win.
Yeah, I do feel like it's pretty much the same with how we play with Charlton. I think even when we're playing bad, we either still seem to nick something or obviously we kind of win in the end. And obviously it's like, to be fair, I don't think we deserve to beat you lot at your place last year. You lot are all over us, especially that first half.
Yeah.
And lucky enough, we obviously came through with a win. And then the opposite was pretty much our half. It was pretty much kind of the case of we just rolled over you
we were so poor. That was one of the that was an embarrassing performance. I thought because I thought we were just so sluggish. Like even the first goal that Del Boy scored, I thought it was just like we had three players around him and not one pressed him for that. Just let him have a free shot, and then I can't remember the second one, but we were just so poor all game. It was just really depressing to be there. I was like, as much as this is my favourite game all season, get me home.
Yeah, no, I do hear it, mate. But let's hope you have more disappointment on Saturday. James, thank you for coming. And obviously, hopefully, maybe for the league fixture, we can get you back on with some of the other boys and give us more of an insight, hopefully, towards how your season is obviously going at that point. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obviously, big things are coming this season. It's not just myself, it's still at the show. Obviously, you've got Jay and the rest of the guys coming. And obviously, we have big things coming with TalkSport and Finalysis. So stay tuned. Please like and follow. And obviously, interact with us in the comment section. If you think you want to question James on anything, I'm sure I'll leave the link and he can comment back to you. So, thank you. This has been the 8 and 85 show. Goodbye.